Welcome back to the Crypto is Key conversation. Hey, so we've been going through a lot, and in this video, I'm going to quickly kind of touch on what's going on with the updates with the Ukraine and Russia tensions. We're going to quickly talk about what's going on with Jerome Powell and the Fed when it comes to the interest rate hikes, and we're going to kind of show some video footage of kind of how things are kind of unveiling and unraveling with Russians' overall narrative in pushing into Ukraine and the government sanctions and how that's affecting kind of their path they're taking. And then we're going to look at some more positives that's been happening within the space. But quickly looking at CoinGecko here, we are currently sitting at a $1.83 trillion market cap, currently up 2.3% for the day. Looking at the top 10, we have Bitcoin sitting at 39,095, Ethereum sitting at 2,712, Tether, Binance Coin is sitting at 369, XRP sitting at 73 cents, Solana sitting at $91, Cardano sitting at 88 cents, Terra sitting at $69, and then Avalanche is sitting at $78. Coming over here to the Bitcoin Fear Green Index, we're currently sitting at a 27. So just like we said earlier in our earlier video, we're up 4 points from just yesterday. Obviously there was a lot of turmoil that hit the markets yesterday with the official invasion of Russia into Ukraine and everything that's going on there. And if we come over here and look at the Bitcoin chart, as you can see, we were let me come back and look at the 7-day. We were way down here in this 34,000, it says 34.7. Some exchanges had it lower, but I mean, we went down like over 10% in Bitcoin, and obviously the entire market took a hit from it. So obviously, when it comes to the markets, we're up now. There's more positivity in price action. So not only just in the regular, S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, being in the green, we also have, the crypto space being in the green. And before I get into the Russian-Ukraine stuff, I wanted to touch on kind of what's going on with the Fed. So obviously we have our next Fed meeting in mid-March, and they're going to cover, what approach they're going to take to combat inflation when it comes to this interest rate hikes. So there's been conversations about, now that, they have the tensions with the Ukraine and Russia, 50 basis points is kind of taken off the table, per, the information that I've been receiving from the outlets that I've been looking at in my research. So now, everyone's kind of pricing in, 25 basis points as an interest rate hike. And they were talking about, we may see 7 to 9 rate hikes increases throughout this year, but it's like we only have 7 meetings left. So how's it going to be 9? So the whole overwhelming concern now is like, okay, what approach is Jerome Powell and the Fed going to do when it comes to our interest rate hikes, when it comes to, our March meeting? Are they going to be kind of, less hawkish, or are they going to be super hawkish in regards of, raising it? So that uncertainty is, also contributing to, some of the downside that we see within our markets, and then that volatility. Looking at this Yahoo article, it says Fed pushes ahead on rate hikes despite Ukraine. So coming over here, there's a quote. He says, bearing an unexpected turn in the economy, I believe it will be appropriate to move the fund rates up in March and follow the further increases in the coming months. And this is from the Cleveland Fed President Loretta Mester. The course of events in Ukraine will likely influence the pace at which rates are increased. So that's what I'm saying. So based on, the tensions that's happening with Ukraine, and obviously you have, the United States and NATO getting involved, it's like, okay, at what pace or at what point are they going to, set our interest rates up in regards of what's going on with the economy? So it's kind of a guessing game at this point. Obviously, the market's going to be pricing in, 25 basis points at least. So we won't really find out until mid-March, when they have that Fed meeting. But now coming over to the Ukraine and Russian, tension that's going on over there with the Russian invasion. Obviously, that's played a huge toll on all markets, especially the crypto market. And I want to kind of cover what's kind of going on and how it's related to what's going on in the crypto space. So this article from CNBC says Ukrainian central bank suspends electronic cash transfers, bolstering the use of crypto, or bolstering the use case for crypto. So the key point says Ukraine central bank is cracking down on digital money transfers in one of the latest measures implemented in connection with a nationwide declaration of martial law. Kuna, a popular Ukrainian crypto exchange, shows that Ukrainian buyers are paying a premium for Tether USDT stablecoin, which is pegged to the price of the US dollar. So coming down here, it says, this is a quote, "We don't trust the government. We don't trust the banking system. We don't trust the local currency. The majority of people have nothing else to choose apart from crypto." So this is just another use case of how powerful Bitcoin and crypto could be, because you can't stop blockchain and crypto. Yes, you can, stop the regulated on and off ramps when it comes to these centralized exchanges or platforms. But when it comes to, peer to peer, when we have, our own ledgers or our own, MetaMask or Phantom Wallet, whatever the case is, we can still send funds and crypto assets to one another without having a third party, stepping in between us or intervention. So this is just another use case of how important it is to have this decentralized nature of the crypto market. And obviously we talked about in our previous videos how you have the stuff that's going on with the truckers blockades and the Canadian government stepping in, kind of freezing assets for people who are, adding and being advocates for this truckers blockade. But then it's like all they did was push them further into the crypto space, because they've seen how pivotal and how vital it is to have that decentralized nature and being able to, fund one another's causes and support one another outside of these central entities. So this is gonna play a huge role into kind of what I've been seeing in regards of, Putin and Russians' plan with everything that they're doing. Coming over here, there's a video right here that I thought was pretty powerful. This is Christian Carlo here on CoinDesk, and it says extensive use of sanctions could be the last hurrah for sanctions, because it could drive and accelerate work by China and Russia to develop CBDCs. So this is kind of one facet of kind of this whole crypto narrative that I'm kind of talking about. So obviously, President Biden just spoke yesterday, late afternoon, talking about their increasing or widening their sanctions on Russia. So they didn't complete, as I'm aware of as of now, they haven't completely cut them off from the SWIFT network, but they've had more sanctions that's supposed to be detrimental to the Russian economy and how Russia operates. So right here in this video, they're kind of going to talk about how these sanctions are kind of driving towards what their narrative is anyways. And I got another video that's going to tie into it. So let's take a listen into this.
I'm very concerned that extensive use of sanctions in this case, and I'm not advocating for or against, I'm just speculating that extensive use of sanctions against Russia, perhaps against China, if there's any other activities going on geopolitically, could be the last hurrah for sanctions, because I think it could drive and accelerate work by China and Russia to develop CBDCs, to use it in their foreign relations, in the case of China, in the case of their Belt and Road Initiative, and to really move portions of the globe off the dollar-based, Western bank-dominated, account-based system that we have today. And so CBDC is absolutely an effort by many non-aligned countries to move away from the sanction power that exists in our current Western bank-dominated, SWIFT-based messaging.
So there we go. The sanction power of the Western world, of the U.S. So even not even talking about CBDCs, if we just look at Russia's actions as of, at one point they were literally like against Bitcoin and crypto, almost in the sense of like going towards the banning route, and then they completely like 180 and flipped it, and now they're like streamlining and rushing the whole making Bitcoin and cryptocurrency legal currency within Russia. So it's like, okay, at what point is this kind of all fit in their narrative and that kind of like their plan in a sense? This is just kind of based on the information that I've been getting, but I can see how this narrative can play out. So there's this tweet from XRP, overnight God's plan. But I thought this, outside of thinking about XRP, but I thought this was pretty informational. It gave great information. This was back in 2019. So let's kind of take a listen into this.
Step 2 is what's being discussed now, which is the payment processing system. So really what they're competing with is the SWIFT bank system, right? So right now, if you're sending money overseas from a U.S. bank, you have to use, or any Western country, you use that SWIFT system that is set up in Belgium. And that prevents money laundering in theory and all that kind of thing. But what the BRICS nations are doing is saying, well, we don't need to use the SWIFT system because we don't want to be subjected again to U.S. sanctions, because if the U.S. is sanctioning you, you can't move money using that SWIFT system. So what's really interesting is, number one, they're creating a payment system that would go around SWIFT. But how do you do that when you have 5 major countries that all have their own currencies? And one of the ways they're doing that is by using possibly cryptocurrency to do that. That would translate their currencies into a single cryptocurrency that is then used through the system and then formulated, I guess, when it gets into their country, back into their own personal currency. So essentially, you're taking currency from one, sending it through as a cryptocurrency, and then back on the other end into transforming it into another currency. And that allows them, again, to get around this SWIFT system in a way that no one had really thought about in the past, because crypto already has all of those things in place.
Now, Russia in particular, they've been moving away from the U.S. dollar. In fact, in the last 5 years, Russia actually cut out almost half of its trade payments in U.S. currency, from 92% to about 50%. So what does this say about its relationship, if any, with the West?
Well, I think it says that, again, that Russia specifically really started pushing this after 2014, right? Because in 2014, the U.S. started hitting Moscow with sanctions, and they wanted to punish. And remember how this works. Sanctions are issued against individual countries. They're also issued against leaders in those countries or wealthy people in those countries. And so when leaders in those countries and wealthy people in those countries start getting hit with sanctions, you have a choice. You can either go along with this and comply, or you can say, let's create a system that no longer gives you leverage over us. Well, one thing that the U.S. is doing a very poor job of right now is recognizing that it's not just Russia or just China, but there are 5 major nations and dozens of smaller nations that are very excited about the idea of no longer being under U.S. dominance when it comes to currency. And we're not doing anything about it. At this point, the U.S. is resisting on almost every level any push to change the way the system is currently.
So that's just, this is obviously since back in 2019. I've never seen this. This is my first time seeing it. And I thought it fit perfectly into kind of what I'm kind of showing throughout this video. So as you can see, there's been a narrative that's been in the works for a while. And you know, obviously, when it comes to the sanction power of the U.S., you know, other countries aren't going to like it, especially a country like Russia. So it's like, if this is, if Russia and Putin's plan is to take this route that they're taking, knowing that they're, you know, trying to get away from the U.S. dollar and the U.S. sanction, trying to bypass that, trying to make crypto and Bitcoin and crypto, you know, legal tender or legal currency, and utilizing that with their CBDCs and yada, yada, yada. I mean, if that's part of the narrative, I guess only time will tell kind of what's going to happen here. Coming over here. So obviously what's going on in Ukraine and Russia, between Ukraine and Russia is terrible. And I've been seeing a lot of video footage of, you know, fathers, you know, handing their kids off to their significant others and sending them on their way, and the father staying back to, you know, stand their ground and support their army and support their land. Like, stuff like that is just devastating. So like I said in our previous video just yesterday, we had a moment of silence and paid our respects to, you know, all the families and their loved ones out there that they're going through that. It's just terrible. But to see this positivity coming out of the crypto community is absolutely massive. We talk about the decentralization of crypto. So yes, we talk about the decentralization within the assets, but we really don't talk about the decentralization of our community. You got people from all different walks of life, you know, living in different countries, different, generations, just different outlooks on life, different socioeconomic statuses, all coming together for a common cause, because they see, you know, bad, and they see hurt and pain, and they are rallying together to support one another. Take a look at this. Here's another positive. This is from Cointelegraph, and this is beautiful. This says, crypto community rallies with Ukraine as local NFT artists' work sells out. It says, in an act of solidarity, crypto enthusiasts from all over the world are helping the people of the Ukraine press through difficult times. It says, it appears the crypto enthusiasts worldwide are rallying in support of Ukrainians during these difficult times. According to reports, Bitcoin donations came back alive, and non-governmental organizations helping Ukraine military efforts received 3 million in BTC in a single donation on Friday. So we were covering how much Bitcoin was actually acquired and sent to the Ukrainian people. It says users also took the social media to ask the country's minister of defense to accept crypto donations such as Tether USDT. At the same time, the founder of Ukraine's Kuna exchange created a crypto fund to assist charities in the country. And also yesterday we covered FTX giving Ukrainians that utilize the platform $25. I don't know I can't remember if it was like per transaction or something, but they pretty much incentivized Ukrainians to utilize the platform, and then they gave them, donated money to that cause, you know, to support the Ukrainians, which is absolutely awesome. This is from Pan Denal. It says, everyone, thank you for all the support and donations. The current plan is separated into 3 parts to involve as many as possible. So it kind of coordinated all this. It says, number 1 was direct donations amid at individuals. And then the NFT auction via Telegram and OpenSea. There was a project percentage pledge aiming at collections and projects. So coming down here kind of explains, it says, on Friday, the outpouring of support gained further traction. Non-fungible tokens, NFTs, artists, Pan Denial began organizing a campaign to direct donations, launch NFT auctions, and pledge a percentage of project sales to NFT artists in Ukraine. At the time of the publication, a group of volunteers had formed to curate a community list of Ukrainian NFT artists and links to their artwork on NFT platforms such as Rarible, Foundation, and OpenSea, which was absolutely massive. So coming down here, here's a quote. It says, meanwhile, the other Ukrainian artists such as, I'm going to just say VOP because I can't say that, have reported their NFT drops selling out due to community support. So these artists' NFT drops have been selling out. So it says, but despite the successful sale, she wrote, it's very scary and could be now. It's very scary at night. And what will happen next is so scary. I admire how brave people are here. I mean, this is absolutely beautiful to see this decentralized crypto community come together to fight the good fight and come together on a common cause to void the bad that out in the world that's going on. This is absolutely beautiful. Coming over here, some more positives within the space. It says Goldman Sachs executive joins Coinbase. It's time to embrace the crypto economy. Look at this. Roger Bartlett is the latest in the line of the Wall Street executives who have moved into the blockchain and crypto space. Here's a quote here. It says, it's time to embrace the crypto economy. It's time to follow my passion to help enable the next generation crypto economy, the inspiring, purpose-led mission to create economic freedom in the world in a customer-first, automation-first approach is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be a part of building the next stage of digital evolution. I mean, that statement is absolutely powerful. So as you can see, just off of all of the adoption and all these executives, you got ex-government officials going into, these blockchain and crypto companies. Now you have, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan. I mean, you got all different people from high status positions coming into the crypto space, the crypto sector, whether that be metaverse, NFTs, platforms, whatever the case is, it's happening. And it's quite evident the writing is on the wall when it comes to crypto. It's here to stay. And adoption is happening day by day, regardless of the FUD and negative narrative that's going on. It's here to stay, and people are buying into it. Some two more positives here. It says Coinbase made $2.2 billion in revenue from transaction fees in Q4. The largest crypto trading platform in the U.S. has beaten analysts' expectation by 27% in its Q4 earnings, despite a broadening slump in the crypto market. I mean, clearly, in the beginning of 2022, it hasn't been that great. They talk about the extended market cycles, but per history, if you were to look back into the crypto market history, it's like typically in December, mid-January time is typically where we have our blow off top, but that hasn't happened. We've been in this slump. So to see, Coinbase still doing very well and, beating analysts' expectations by 27% is absolutely massive. Coming over here, here's another one. This is the BlockNet's 1.18 billion Q4 gross profit, making a 47% year-over-year increase. In total, Block generated 4.42 billion worth of gross profit in 2021, marking a total year-over-year growth of 62%. However, net profit total at just 77 million. Hey, obviously we know. I think the Block is. Was originally Square. Now it's the Block. So obviously Jack Dorsey is super bought into crypto and the metaverse and NFTs and everything. He's seen the writing on the wall, so he's literally changed Square to Block, blockchain, which is absolutely massive. Coming out here is a quote that says, on January 31st, we completed our acquisition of Afterpay, a global buy now, pay later platform. We believe this acquisition will further block strategic priorities for Square and Cash App by strengthening the connections between our ecosystem as we develop compelling financial products and services for consumers and merchants. Hey guys, the writing is on the wall when it comes to the crypto space. Adoption is happening day by day. The domino tiles have already started falling, and it's just a matter of time in the space. Time for regulatory clarity to come into the space. So all the rest of these digital assets and these blockchain companies can do what they do. Put their platforms or their projects to work. Let its utility and use case change and innovate, how we do our day-to-day lives, and see this growth, the space absolutely just grow exponentially. I mean, we're sitting at a $1.83 trillion market cap. We are so early to this party. Crypto is here to stay. All these negative things that's going on, all these negative narratives, it's terrible. It's tragic. And a lot of people have been selling off out of fear of what's going on, which is totally understandable when it comes to certain situations. But now if you're just, looking at these headlines and these articles and just, out of straight emotion selling off, if that's your prerogative, that's okay. But I'm just here to let you know, crypto's here to stay. We are so early to the party. With all that being said, stay strong out there. Be safe.